Hey guys, and welcome to our fourth of this little at-home series that we're doing. As you can maybe tell, background's a little bit different. We're up north, and so we get a little bit of that extra quiet, and I thought why not film here with a nice little pretty background. Today's class will be more of a yin class, that deep stretching. So if you do have blocks, bring them out. If you have anything that's similar to blocks that can handle your weight, sometimes even pillows can work as blocks, especially when folded. They're just for a pose or two, and I will let you know when you can use them. So again, you might not need them, but if you do have them, definitely pull them out. We also will be using a strap today. So whether you have a yoga mat strap, a belt, anything like that that you can wrap around your foot and hold in your hands will work. I actually forgot mine at home, so I'm doing a makeshift strap, which you can do as well. So if you don't actually have one, just get a nice towel, roll it up really tight, and I'll show you how to use that later on. I just wanted to say a big thank you to all you guys who have supported me through the at-home series, who have watched the yoga, done it, and I know that a bunch of you have even let me know how you've been feeling after these sequences, and it really does mean a lot to me. The support, the help, everything. That's what's allowing me to grow. So again, just like a massive thank you to you guys. You guys really deserve it. So to get started today, we're gonna come to that comfortable cross-legged seated position. Bring your palms up over your knees or thighs. Let those shoulders relax and allow the eyes to softly close. Feel yourself sitting nice and tall with that tailbone tucked under slightly. Chest a little puff, still keep those shoulders dropped, and reach tall through the crown of your head. Just taking a moment to follow your natural breath and give yourself that chance to really just arrive on the mat and in your space. Feeling that natural breath, see where it's at. Notice if it's shallow or really rapid. Maybe it's already nice and smooth. Sometimes knowing where our breath is at and acknowledging it can let us see even what is making our breath maybe more rapid or shallow. It gives us the chance to just quickly see what's underneath that. Maybe we're nervous. Maybe we were just running around a little too much. Always have that patience. Take these few moments. Just start to slow the breath down. Let yourself become calm and more light with every breath. With every inhale, feel every inch and corner of the body lifting, expanding. Every exhale, your body relaxes for that moment. If you haven't yet, start to lengthen the breath, deepening each and every inhale, lengthening every exhale. If you know Ujjayi breathing, you can always use it at this point as well and throughout your practice. It's that feeling where you constrict the muscles to the back of your throat and almost be breathing with sound. It sounds like waves crashing against a shore, or some people say Darth Vader. So if you know that breath, use it throughout your practice today. I'm going to walk you through a bit of a 5-count breath, just to really help slow ourselves down and really learn how to deepen that breath, because with our stretching today, it will come in handy. So begin to exhale all remaining air. Start that first deep inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold your breath at the top here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin that exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold that breath. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold that breath. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5. Hold that breath. And exhale for 5. Another inhale for 5. Hold that breath. And last exhale for 5. And return back to your natural breath, just taking a moment to pause and feel. And gently begin to roll your shoulders forwards a few times, nice big but slow movements. And roll them backwards a few. Just feel the system starting to awaken again, coming back to the here and now. Let those shoulders relax, and with a few gentle blinks, begin to open up the eyes. Start by bringing that right ear to the right shoulder, right hand over to the left ear, and just give your head that gentle tug. Always getting in that neck stretch is where we hold most our tension, so we want to release it. Feel your left shoulder actively sinking away from the ears, so we deepen that stretch. You can always nod the head, finding the tightest point, and then just hold there. And release, bringing the left ear to the left shoulder, left hand over to the right ear, and again, just tug down gently. Make sure you're feeling that right shoulder this time actively sinking away from the ear. Maybe nodding the head again to find that tight point, and then just hold there. Really be breathing into the neck, into the throat, let it open up. And release. Sitting nice and tall still, take your chin up towards the ceiling. Really feel yourself reaching with that chin. That way we don't collapse into the back of the neck. Part the lips slightly. And lift the head back up, tuck the chin to the chest, and if you need more pressure, just use your hands on the back of the head and lightly tug down. And release, bring the hands to the mat in front and walk them over to that left side. Just going in for a gentle twist, bringing that left hand a bit further behind you. Right hand can be used against the knee to just help push a bit deeper. Still keep those shoulders nice and open. Feel yourself sitting nice and tall, and even take your gaze towards the back. If you have any injuries or anything like arthritis in the neck, just keep your gaze forwards. And begin to walk the hands back to the center and over to the right. Right hand a bit further behind you this time. Left hand against the knee to help push a bit deeper. Still keep those shoulders rotating open. Gaze towards the back. And begin to walk the hands back to the center. You're going to take your right arm, reach it across to the left, and use your left arm or hand to help pull that arm in towards the body. If you find your elbow is bending too much, you can always grab a hold of the elbow and pull that in as well. Here you want to still make sure that your shoulders are relaxed, they're depressed away from the ears so we're not shrugging them up. Still keep that tension out of the neck that we just released. Feel a stretch in the back of that shoulder blade, taking a nice deep breath. And then switching it up, reach that left arm across to the right. Right arm pulls the left in towards the body. Deep breaths, relax those shoulders. And release. Reach your arms out to the sides, palms facing forwards. As you inhale, start to turn those palms up towards the ceiling, trying to rotate them towards the back as much as you can. And exhale, turn the palms down towards the mat and then towards the back as far as they'll rotate. Inhale back up. And exhale down. Inhale back up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Another exhale down. Last inhale back up. And on the exhale, just give your arms that little bit of a shake. Now here, if you find your hips are still really tight, stay in the cross-leg position. But if you know your hips are a little bit more open, we want to bring one shin a bit more parallel to the front of the mat and try to stack that other shin right on top. So here we're going to start to fall forwards, walking those hands in front of us, letting your chest rest a little bit down over the shins. You can allow the back to round here, it's okay, we don't need to already be focused so much on the back, we just want to start getting that stretch, that rotation in the hips, maybe even into the glutes, you might be feeling it. 2 nice breaths. And begin to lift yourself back up, whichever position you're in, cross-legged or stacked, switch the legs up, and that way we can get the opposite side. Begin to again walk those hands out in front of you, letting your chest start to rest down over the shins. And already be aware of your body. Let yourself take that scan from head to toe. See how all your muscles, your joints are feeling. Notice your energy levels. And we can respect that throughout our entire practice, even already noticing maybe which side feels a little bit tighter than the other. Just gain that awareness for yourself. And begin to lift yourself back up. Unstack the legs or even uncross them if you're in the cross-legged position and step those feet out in front of you. Let yourself rock the knees a little side to side. Try to keep that upper body a bit more straight. Just working with the hips, loosening it up. And then even step your feet a bit further apart. And again, just rock them a little side to side. Really try to press those knees down when you get there. And then start to swing your knees to one side and come right up to that neutral tabletop with your wrists underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. On your next inhale, begin to sink that stomach down towards the mat, tilt the head and pelvis up, and exhale, reach high with that mid-back, tuck the head and pelvis under. Inhale, sink, really squeeze those shoulder blades together. And exhale, rise, pushing the shoulder blades apart. And continue to follow your natural breath. Let it guide your flow of movement. Really feel your body starting to warm up, every muscle in the back. Feel your spine getting a bit more mobile. If you haven't connected with the breath yet, definitely do so by feeling yourself on the top of the inhale, having your stomach sunk to that lowest point. And on the very end of your exhale, having your mid-back reach that highest point. And after your next natural exhale, start to come back to that neutral tabletop. As you inhale, open your chest to the right and reach your right arm all the way up to the ceiling. Always try to twist with more of your upper back rather than trying to torque your shoulder where it may not want to go. Exhale, release back to the mat. Inhale, open to the left, reach that left arm all the way up. Exhale, back down. Inhale, open to the right. Exhale, down. Inhale to the left. Exhale, down. Another inhale to the right, but holding here. We're going to start to sit back towards our heels, reaching that arm even further behind us as if we're trying to really open up our chest that little bit more, just deepening the stretch. And on your next exhale, come back to that neutral tabletop. One more inhale as we open to the left. Holding here, and then begin to sit back onto your heels. Again, trying to reach that arm a little bit further behind you, deepening the twist, deepening the stretch. Next exhale, come back to that neutral tabletop. Here we're going to work a little bit with our wrist strength. So I want you to have your palms flat to the mat, the fingertips really spread out as if they're glued down. Nothing is going to lift up during this. As you inhale, move forwards and feel the shoulders just passing your wrists a little bit. Exhale, start to shift back. Inhale, shift forwards. And exhale, shift back. Inhale forwards. Exhale to the back. Another inhale forwards. And as you exhale, come back to the center. Now for the little bit harder one, we want to make sure that our pinky and our thumb for this point are really glued to the mat, not lifting up, so we're gaining that strength and mobility in our wrists. As you inhale, shift your weight to the right, letting those shoulders just pass the wrists. And exhale, shift to the left. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the right. Exhale to the left. Another inhale to the right. Last exhale to the left. And then come back to center. Now to stretch out our wrists, we're going to take one hand at a time, turn the fingers towards the outside and keep them going as far as you can. And if you can get your fingers to point, you definitely do that. And then place the palm back down. Here we're just going to hold, and you want to feel the forearms as if they're pushing forwards as you start to lean back a little bit. If this here, I'll show you from the side, if this becomes a little bit too much, just start to bring your knees a bit closer towards the hands so you can actually gauge how much weight you're putting into the wrist, so that way you don't overdo it for yourself. Just feel it opening up a little bit. And then release, just bringing one hand at a time back to normal onto the mat. And for our last wrist stretch, we want to take one hand at a time, fingers point down towards the mat, and then back towards you, placing the top of the hand onto the mat. This one, yes, is a little bit more of, I kind of always say it's a gross feeling. You do kind of tend to get used to it over time, but the same as before, we want to feel those forearms pushing forwards as we lean back. If it's too much, just walk those knees a bit closer to the hands again, so that way you can determine how much weight you put into the tops of those wrists. 2 nice breaths. And then one hand at a time, flip those hands back over. Here we're gonna just sit right back on the heels, just give your wrists a little bit of a shake. Even bring the hands together and just roll them a little bit. They will feel a bit weak, but you will get that strength back very fast. And then coming back to that neutral tabletop, we're gonna step the right foot out behind us, tuck the toes under and push the heel down. Light toe stretch through the Achilles tendon and the calf. You can always pulse here a little bit if that works faster, just remain static. And then take that right leg, cross it over the left, untuck the toes and slide it a bit further away. Start to reach those arms out in front of you and hold here, or if you feel ready, you can always walk those hands over to the left, just deepening that side body stretch. Bring your forehead to the mat and just rest here for 2 breaths. And begin to lift your way back up to that neutral tabletop. Of course, stepping the left foot out behind us, tuck the toes under and push the heel down. Again, maybe pulsing if that worked faster, just remain static. Then take that left leg, cross it over the right, untuck the toes and slide it a bit further. Walk those hands out in front, and when you're ready, begin to walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Get that side body stretch, forehead to the mat. And begin to walk those hands back to the center, lifting yourself back to that neutral tabletop. Just to heat up the core a little bit, we're going to step back in a high plank. Keep those hips as parallel to the mat as you can. Slightly round through that upper back. Keep those shoulders away from the ears, deep breathing, and just holding here. We want to just start to heat up the core, heat up the body. That way we'll get a nice deeper stretch and we won't be cold and pulling any muscles. It's very important to heat up that body. And begin to drop down to your knees, open them up nice and wide, untuck the toes and sit back into child's pose. Bring that forehead to the mat. Take a few nice deep breaths. Begin to lift yourself back up to that neutral tabletop. And here we're going to start right with our deep stretching. Take that right leg, step it forwards between your hands for a low lunge. Here we want to make sure of a few things. The first one is making sure that front knee is right above the ankle, not shooting past. If this is a little bit too tough, if you feel really tight, just drag that back leg closer to the front. If not, start dragging that back leg further and further away from you. Here you can keep your hands to the mat. Maybe rest the hands on the knees as you let those hips sink, still keeping that front knee over the ankle. Or this is also where you can take the blocks on any height that work best and place it underneath the hands so that way you can rest your body weight down on that. I always prefer the blocks because I find that most comfortable, especially if you have any tight pinching up at the top of the quad. The blocks are nice because it creates that space for you, and that way you won't get as much of that pinch there. Taking a nice handful of deep breaths while we try to relax the body. Use every exhale to let the hips sink. Release any tension in the hips and legs. Already be aware of the body. Always scan it at the start of every stretch. Even from one side to another, we want to reanalyze our body and think about, are we feeling any sharp pinches or sharp pains? And if you are, ease up on the stretch. You're probably pushing a little too far if you're feeling those sharp pinches or if you can't breathe. If you're just feeling a bit of that typical discomfort, every stretch will give you that. And then that's where you want to put your mind to focus back to the breath. So if you're getting just a bit of that discomfort, like I'm starting to in that quad and up in this hip here, then you just take those nice deep exhales, those long breaths, bringing the focus back there. Just a few more breaths. If you do have any of the props under your hands, just slide them back off to the side, bring your hands to the mat, and then you're going to heel toe that right foot outside of the right hand. If this is already enough, just remain here. If you want to take it a bit further, you start to roll to the outside edge of that right foot, letting the knee start to drop towards the floor. Again, this could be that next step where you might just hold here, but before you take it even further, make sure your hips are as parallel to the mat below you as you can get. So you want to feel that right hip dropping and that left hip lifting up. Then you can either stay with your arms straight, maybe bring your elbows all the way down to a block or even down to the mat, whatever you feel ready for. Always listen to your hips, listen to if there's any sharp pinching or pains. Try to relax the body. Do those heavy exhales, just let yourself breathe it out. If you feel you need to exhale through the mouth here and there, definitely do so. That helps release any tension within us. We always still want to try to use the exhales to let go of any tightness within us. And that doesn't just mean physically, that could be emotionally, mentally. We want to breathe it out with every exhale. Let go of what no longer serves you. 2 more breaths. And begin to lift yourself back up. Take that moment to heel toe the right foot back between your hands, and then walk your hands towards the back, straightening up that front leg, flexing that front foot. And it's okay if the back rounds here. Again, we don't have to focus right now so much on the back, keeping it straight. Just let yourself fall forward to get a nice stretch underneath. Begin to walk the hands forwards. Tuck the back toes underneath, lift those hips up and drag that right foot back and try to swing that left foot forward, stepping it between the hands. Drop the back knee down, untuck the toes, and find the low lunge that worked best for you. Again, making sure that you're keeping that front knee right above the ankle. Maybe use the props under your hands if you need. Or to ease it up, drag that back leg closer towards the front, just shrinking that little lunge a bit. Even find a point of focus during your stretching, maybe on the floor, the wall in front of you, the mat. Something to focus on so you can just breathe to that spot. We want the focus off of any little bit of discomfort. We want to feel the breath. We want to let our bodies feel more calm. Still taking a few more breaths here. And again, if you have the props under your hands, just slide them to the side, bringing your hands back to the mat. Take the time to heel toe that left foot outside of the left hand. And then again, if that's enough, you can just stay there, or you can begin to start to roll to the outside edge of that left foot, letting the left knee drop open. We want to make sure that before we take our arms maybe down to the mat or onto a block, that our left hip is sinking and that right hip is lifting up. That way our hips will be more parallel to the mat below us. Taking our few breaths here, get that nice stretch, let the hips open. And always remember too that it's okay if the mind wanders a little bit. It's almost impossible to just not think, especially when we're just kind of sitting here holding a nice deep stretch. So never any judgment to yourself, don't label it as good or bad. We simply just acknowledge that the mind has wandered and then come back to the breath every time. It's just practice, like we practice our, stretching or strengthening. We practice working with the mind. Begin to start to lift your way back up. Take the time to heel toe that foot back between the hands, and then walk your hands towards the back, straightening up that front leg, flexing that foot, just letting yourself fall forwards a little bit. Open up the underneath of that leg. And then begin to walk those hands forwards, tucking the back toes underneath. Lift those hips up and drag that left foot back. And you can use your knees here or not, and just lower yourself all the way down flat to the mat. And from here, we're just going to bring our hands right underneath the shoulders. As we inhale, we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together, squeeze the glutes together, and start to peel our chest away from the mat. Here we want to make sure that our hands are just there for light support. So if you remove them, you won't go falling back down. Again, they're just that light support. Still be breathing here, don't hold the breath. And then lower back down, just turn to one cheek, give yourself a nice quick breath. Chin back to the center. Inhale, squeeze those shoulder blades, squeeze the glutes, peel the chest away from the mat. Just holding here. And release back down, turn to the opposite cheek this time for one nice breath. Coming back to the center. This time we're going to bring our elbows underneath the shoulders. This will prop ourselves up, the arms reach forwards. Similar cues, we want to make sure that the shoulders are away from the ears and squeeze those shoulder blades together. That way our chest puffs forwards. Make sure you squeeze those glutes. That way it'll protect and activate the low back. Try to peel the chest a little bit further away once you have everything activated. And you can take your gaze forwards or maybe a little bit down towards the mat. Just don't try to crank it up to the ceiling. Just holding here for a little bit. We want to start to build up some of that strength while we lightly stretch the front, but also gain a bit more mobility or flexibility in the spine. I once remember that I had to hold this pose for probably almost about 4 minutes, and I thought, oh, this doesn't seem that hard. Until the next morning, how sore I was. You'd realize if you're really engaging everything, you might feel a little bit of that soreness and you'll know you did do that properly. Sometimes as we hold this pose for longer, our body starts to relax. Just if you start to relax, try to catch that. Give your body a moment and then readjust and re-squeeze everything. Squeeze those glutes, those shoulder blades together, puff that chest. Just 2 more nice breaths. And then begin to let the body ease up and use those hands to help lift your way back up. Open the knees and sit back into that child's pose, bringing the forehead to the mat. And as we rest in our child's pose, always make sure that you're feeling those shoulder blades dropping down your back as the crown of the head reaches forwards. That way we're actively lengthening that spine, and especially as a counter to any back bending, we want to just lengthen again, neutralize it, not necessarily just fold forwards. And that's why you'll notice I always use child's pose as a nice counter for any back bending. As we hold in child's pose, start to walk those hands over to the right side of the mat, just opening up for a nice side body stretch. Feel that left hand reaching that little bit further. Feel your breath still really helping to open and expand the ribs, still keeping your forehead to the mat. And begin to walk those hands back to the center and over to the left. Same thing, but this time you want to feel that right arm reaching a little bit further. Use the breath to open up the side body. Feel it through your lats, through the ribs. And then coming back to the center and start to lift your way back up to that neutral tabletop. Here we're just going to drop our weight to one side and swing those feet out in front of us. And then here we're just going to bring the soles of our feet together and let those knees fall apart. Here we'll sit nice and tall. We're going to tip that pelvis up, that feeling of trying to stick that butt out behind you, and that way our weight shifts forwards. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale as you reach that crown nice and tall, and exhale, start to pull yourself forwards, reaching from that chest always. That way we keep the nice flat back. And yes, we're focusing on the back now, trying to keep it flat. Don't let it start to round. Just holding here for a little bit. We want to let those knees start to relax, let all the tension in the hips be let go, so our legs will start to sink a little bit further. You can always use your elbows on the shins or the knees to help wiggle them down a bit. As we hold here, you may have noticed if you have done the previous videos, which I will link below, I talk about the neck in this sort of pose. And a lot of times as we start to really try to reach in this pose, we reach with that neck, creating that just crushing feeling in the back. To avoid that, tuck the chin under, reach through the crown of the head, and that way we get that nice straight spine. And we're not really crushing anything. So our back is nice and straight from the low back through to the crown of the head. A few more nice deep breaths. Every inhale, maybe you'll feel yourself lifting up just a touch, and every exhale is when you want to try to reach that little bit more forwards. We're creating that space on the exhale. Begin to start to lift your way back up. Maybe use the hands on the knees to bring them back together, and just take a moment to rock them a little side to side. And then stop back in the center. From here, we're going to open our heels, our legs up as wide as they'll go. We want to make sure that our knees and our toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. That way they don't start rolling inwards. So keep those knees and toes pointing up. Just like our last stretch, we want to tilt the pelvis up to help shift that weight forwards a little bit. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach with the crown. And exhale, reach from that chest forwards and down. Here we want to just use our hands just to sort of secure our spot to the mat. I always suggest keeping the elbows bent. That way we're not tempted to start using the arms to reach forwards, which starts to round our backs. So again, keep the elbows bent, hands just glued to the mat. They're there to sort of just give you that feeling that you're kind of pulling yourself down, but you're still actively reaching from that chest. Keep that neck nice and straight. And be aware of the sensations in the legs. If you have either really solidly tight hamstrings that they feel more like cement, or you get pains or injuries underneath the knees, micro bend the knees a little bit. You can even flex the feet to keep the stretch within the calf as well, and then begin to lean forwards. This just sort of takes that strain or that pain away from the knees and directs it more towards the groin instead, and that way we can get that nice stretch still towards the groin, the top of the hamstrings, and not so much under those knees. So find what works for you just for a few nice deep breaths. And take a moment to start to lift your way back up. Still keep the legs where they are, and bring your right hand outside of the right leg. Inhale that left arm up, nice straight spine, and exhale, reach to the right side. Try not to feel that you're crushing into that left side. That's why we lengthen through the spine and then curve. Just trying to get a little bit of a nice stretch down our side body into that side hip. You can always take your gaze to the ceiling, just holding here for one more nice breath. And then we're going to turn our chest towards that right leg, placing the left hand down. You might notice, yes, the chest may not completely twist right over that right leg, but we want to try to just get it as close as possible, and that way we start to get a nice pull or tug towards that low back. 2 breaths. And begin to lift your way back up to center, left hand to the outside of your left leg. Inhale that right arm up, lengthen through that spine, and exhale, reach to the left. Maybe gaze to the ceiling. One nice deep breath. And then start to turn your chest towards that left leg as if you're trying to let the chest drop right over top. Bring that right hand down to the inside of that left leg. Holding here just for those nice 2 breaths. Start to try to feel a bit of that tug, that stretch towards the low back. And then begin to lift your way back up to center. Just take a moment and wiggle those legs back together. Bend the knees and let yourself rock them a little side to side. Always my favorite movement after a stretch like that because it allows our hips to just become a bit more loose again, and it brings our legs back together after having ourselves open a nice split stretch. And from here, we're just going to stop in the center and scoot ourselves down onto our backs on the mat. And at this point, just make sure that you have that strap, that towel, whatever you had within reach for yourself. So we're going to come and lay down nice and flat on the mat. Bring the knees to the chest and give them a nice tight squeeze. Rock a little side to side, giving that low back a bit of a massage. And then stopping in the center, straighten the left leg down the mat, and we're going to take that strap or that towel and wrap it around the sole of the right foot and straighten that right leg up into the air, flexing the foot so you feel that right heel pushing its way up. Here, if you do again have any injuries in the knee or tight hamstrings, you can always micro bend the knee a little bit as well. Start to feel yourself pulling that strap towards you, getting a nice stretch in the back of the leg. Just holding here for 2 more breaths. And then we're going to place the strap into the right hand, and you're going to start to feel your toes and your knees rotate to point towards the left. So I'll show you without the strap. And so you want to feel the knees, the toes rotating, not turning your whole body, but just rotating so they point to that left side. And so we're going to make sure we've got that strap there on the foot. Rotate those toes, point them to the left, and start to just lean that leg a little bit over to the left. Not too far, maybe about 20, 30, 40 degrees at the most. Just to start feeling a nice stretch down the outside of that right thigh, the IT band, maybe even into the hip. And you want to still feel that right hip pressing down towards the mat, so that way we're not lifting it up and rolling our whole body over. Just resting here for a moment. And then start to lift that right leg back up. You can keep the strap in that right hand and allow the right leg now to open completely to the right side. It may touch the floor, it may not. but as long as you're getting the leg open, feeling that stretch down the hamstring, even towards the hips, the groin. Flex that right foot, tighten the strap a little bit more. Just a few breaths. And begin to bend that right knee, making it easier to just bring it back to the chest. And we're going to bend that left foot, bring it to the chest, and switch the strap over to that left foot now, straightening the right leg down the mat. Grab a hold of each strap with each hand and straighten that left leg up to the air, flex the foot, and again you can always micro bend the knee a little bit if you need. Start to try to tighten the strap, get that nice stretch through the hamstring, the calf. A few nice deep breaths. And then place the straps in that left hand. Start to rotate those toes that knee to point a little bit to the right. Again, right now we're not reaching the leg yet. We're just rotating it so the toes and the knees point a little bit towards that right side. And then begin to start to lean the leg a little bit to the right. Again, maybe anywhere between that 20 to 40 degree mark, 40 degrees at the most. And that way you'll still start to feel that stretch down the outside of that left thigh, the IT band, even into the hip. Make sure you feel that left hip sinking towards the mat. Just a few nice breaths. And then begin to lift that leg back up and just let that left leg open all the way to the left. Again, you can always tighten the strap a little bit. Your leg may or may not fully touch the floor, and that's okay. We just want to start to feel that stretch. A few breaths here. Still taking those long inhales, those long exhales. We always still want the focus on our breath as soon as we get into any stretch. Begin to bend that left knee, making it a bit easier to bring it back to the chest. Unhook the strap and just toss it right off to the side. We're going to bring the knees back to the chest, hug them tight and rock a little side to side. And stopping back in the center, place the soles of the feet to the mat. From here, we're going to take that right foot, cross it over the left thigh. I'll turn, so in case you need to see a little more, it might be better from this angle. That right foot crosses over the left thigh. We use the right hand to help push on the knee, opening it up. And then from here, when you feel ready, or your hips feel open enough, start to lift that left knee up and bring it towards the body. Use that right arm and weave it through the hole that you just created and grab a hold of that left knee or even underneath the knee on the thigh. Here, if you do have a strap and you find this hard to reach, you can always weave the strap around the knee through that hole and hang on to it that way, helping yourself bring the knee closer. Here we want to feel that right knee opening up as that left knee comes towards the body, keeping our hips parallel with one another. So we're going to hold there just for a few nice breaths. Try to feel the shoulder blades relaxing towards the mat. That way we're not trying to strain our neck or hold our necks up at all. We want all that tension out of there. If you do start to deepen this pose a lot more, you either have the different variations of the strap, so using your hand to hold it, or you can start to wrap that left arm around the foot, your right arm around the knee, holding it towards the body as you start to straighten that left leg down the mat. So there's different variations to slowly progress, but always pay attention to that body, the hips. Again, paying attention to any sharp pinching or pains. Be aware of all that. Still feeling the exhales opening and expanding the body. Feel yourself breathing in all that nice oxygen, waking yourself up. And every exhale, let go of any pressure, heaviness within you. Breathe it out. Begin to slowly unravel from the pose, stepping that right foot down, and of course bringing that left foot over the right thigh, open up the left knee. When you're ready, bring that right knee towards the body, weaving your left hand through the hole you created and grabbing a hold of that right knee or underneath the knee on the thigh. Again, you can use the strap, wrapping it around the knee if you need to hang on to it. Or in time, you may start to wrap that right arm around the foot, left arm around the knee, holding it closer to your body as you straighten that right leg down the mat. Again, just see what works for you, see where you're at, and always keep in mind that some progression we make will feel like we're always moving forwards, and we are if we take that progression nice and slow so we don't get injured. But at the same time, depending on how the weather is, maybe how we slept, it might still sometimes be tighter than the day before or that week before, and you might feel like, what happened to that progression that I was making? Always keep that in mind. Don't be hard on yourself. Breathe out any of that judgment, that ego. We're just at home. We're taking the nice stretch to allow our bodies to open up, to feel better. 2 more nice deep breaths here. Remember to use those exhales to let the body feel like it's relaxing a bit more. And begin to slowly unravel from the pose, stepping that left foot down, rock the knees a little side to side, massage those glutes. And then stopping back in the center, bring the knees towards the chest, and then allow them to drop all the way to that left side, opening the arms up, and you can take your gaze to the right, or if you do have any arthritis or injuries still in the neck, just keep your gaze towards the ceiling. To ease up the twist, if it's a little too tight or you have any low back issues, just push the knees away from the chest or place a prop underneath the knees to keep them lifted. To deepen it, just bring the knees towards the chest or use that left hand on the knees to help pull them down, always still feeling that right shoulder pressing against that mat. Just allowing yourself a nice twist. Sometimes I've been actually asked this before too, if you have any adductor strains or any sharp pinching towards the top of your quads in something like just a basic twist, you want to feel that top hip lifting up and pushing over to that left side. That way your knees stay completely stacked and one isn't kind of drawing away from the other. If you do that, that does help a lot with the pinching. But you have to be aware enough of how you move that hip to make that happen. Notice here that your breath will be shortened, but you can still keep it slow and controlled. Don't give in to any rapid breathing. Just a few more breaths. And gently lift those knees back up, and then allow them to slowly drop to that right side, opening those arms back up and taking your gaze to the left. Take it as easy or as deep as you need this twist. And again, if you're feeling that adductor strain, but on this side, make sure you're lifting that hip and pushing it over to the right, so that way your knees are really stacked right on top of the other. And then begin to open up. You might feel that, yes, this will start to lift that shoulder, the left shoulder, a little bit away from the mat, but that's okay in this instance. It'll just start to kind of deepen your twist as well, but it'll protect that sharp pinch in the hip or that adductor. Again, always coming back to that breath, still keeping it slow and controlled, and even notice how the breath works in something just like a twist. Every inhale, maybe it helps tighten your twist because you're breathing in air, the ribs, the lungs are expanding. And as you exhale, the air leaves from the body. Therefore, it almost feels like your twist is almost a little bit looser, but yet that's also the time that you can push it a little bit further if you need. Be careful if you do have that injury in the low back. Be a bit more gentle with yourself. A few nice breaths. And begin to slowly lift those knees back up to the center. Hug your knees to the chest. Even bring the forehead to the knees. Help neutralize that spine. relax the neck. And for our last deep stretch of today, we're going to grab a hold of each knee with our hands and open them up nice and wide. I'll turn a little bit again so it might be easier for you to see. We're going to open those knees up and then bring the feet into the air. Here you want to reach the arms up and grab a hold of the outside edges of the feet. If you can't yet reach that, you can always grab a hold of the ankles or even behind the knees on the thighs. If you do have a strap, you can always put the strap around the feet and hang on to it in your hands as well. So wherever you're holding on to, you want to feel yourself pulling those knees down towards the mat, towards the underarms so they're outside of the body. And then begin to open the feet apart wider and wider, just holding there where it's comfortable enough. Or I should say where you're still feeling a bit of discomfort from the stretch, but no pains. Just holding in our happy baby pose. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. Try not to create any unwanted tension in the neck. Few nice breaths. Breathe out any tension in the legs and the hips, let it go. Gently start to release the grip, bring those knees back together in the center. Just give them that nice tight squeeze. And then start to straighten your legs, your feet down the mat. Maybe even opening up the feet towards the edges of the mat. Make sure your palms are rotating up so our shoulders are rotating open. Tuck each shoulder blade underneath the body. Maybe even pull out the glutes from underneath. Feel that chin tucked under slightly. Give your fingers and toes a bit of a wiggle, even roll them a little bit. And then allow your body to start to relax. Let the eyes begin to close for Savasana. From here, just make sure that your jaw is unclenched, your lips are parting slightly. Every facial muscle at ease, just like the rest of your body. Taking 2 nice deep and full breaths before coming back to your natural breathing. Just feeling your whole body letting go. You're taking that time just to relax. Letting your body feel open and nicely stretched out. With every inhale, feel at peace. With every exhale, you're grounding just that little bit further. Allow the thoughts to just float right by. No need to try so hard to control them. Taking a few breaths. And then on every inhale, I want you to visualize that white light that surrounds the body. And as you breathe in, that white light begins to travel into the body, filling you up from head to toe. The white light represents love, calmness, positivity, and even contentment. And we want to continue to breathe that into ourselves. With every exhale, we visualize any gray energy that may be stuck within us and breathe it out. As you exhale, visualize that gray energy leaving the mouth, the nose, seeing it drift off into the distance, letting go of any negativity, any frustrations, any heaviness within us. Continue with that visualization, every inhale, breathing in that white light, feeding your body the strength, nourishment, and refueling us. And the exhales, breathing out the gray light, releasing any concerns, worries, or pressure. Allow the breath to just cleanse the body right now. Take a few more of those nice cleansing breaths. And just noticing how you're feeling. Taking this time to just be the body, the mind, the soul. Just letting it go. If you'd like to take a longer Savasana, just remain here, tune out the rest. Begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, just bringing some of that sensation back to the body. Reach those arms up over the head and take a nice long body stretch. Then leave the right arm where it is. Bring the left hand to the stomach. Bend at the knees and gently roll to that right side, resting for the moment in the fetal position. Maybe using that right arm as a pillow for the head. And as you rest here, always use this pose as that time to thank yourself for dedicating a practice to you, that self-love and self-care that you need and deserve. Trying to keep eyes closed, use those hands to help lift your way back up to a comfortable cross-legged seated position. Having those palms up over the knees or thighs, shoulders relaxed. Still reaching tall through the crown of that head. Always really just let yourself embody the strength and power that this pose, this simple pose, has to offer. Begin to exhale all remaining air, taking your first deep inhale through the nose. And sigh through the mouth. Deep inhale through the nose. Sigh through the mouth. Last deep inhale through the nose. Really feed the body. And release through the mouth. Bring your hands together at heart center and rub those palms together. Create that heat and energy. Placing your palms over the heart, allowing that heat and energy to flow back in with every pulse, feel every beat. Let that love turn inwards, allow your heart to remain open, and let it heal. Bringing your hands back to heart center, with a few gentle blinks, let the eyes softly open. Namaste.